So we're continuing our discussion now on how Alpha 5 can automatically create multiple tables from a dialog definition, and we've specified now that the alias for the fields in the header section of this dialog are going to go into an alias called customer header, and the fields in the repeating section are going to go into an alias called customer address. So here in step 2 we define the physical table names for each of these tables, for each of these aliases, sorry. So the physical table for customer header, I can go there and say customer header table, and then the physical table for the alias, customer address alias, I can say is customer addresses table, and then I can choose whether to create SQL tables or DBFs. So I'm going to choose SQL tables, and then I'm going to go here and choose my MySQL database over there, and now I can go to the final step over here and choose create tables. So at this point, if I look inside my MySQL database, I see that there's no tables in this database. So I'm going to go there now and press the button to create the tables, and Alpha 5 creates the 2 tables. And I'm going to just close this down now and go over to Navicat here and then do a refresh, and you can see the 2 tables have been created. The customer header table, which of course is currently empty, you can see Alpha 5 has automatically added a primary key. This is an auto increment field, customer header table ID, and here is the address table, which is also obviously empty at this stage. So when the tables were created, Alpha 5 also automatically filled in all of the binding information to bind the controls to the table. So if we go here and look at these dialogues, you can see that when we click on specify table, this now has customer header, which is the customer header table, and it's now filled in the primary key, and specified auto increment, and there's customer addresses, etc. Here's the linking information, and the link type is one-to-many, so you can see it's indicated by a double line there in the arrow indicating one-to-many. You can also use one-to-one links as well in more complex dialog structures. Then you can specify, here you can see we've filled in that the repeating section is bound to the customer underbar addresses alias, and then over here we've got all of the controls, the control binding for the top level of the dialog, and there's the repeating section over there. So all of the alias information, all of the binding information has been automatically filled in, and now we'd actually like to test out data entry using this dialog. So we're going to go now to server-side events, the after dialog validate, and add code to commit the data that gets submitted to the underlying database tables. So we'll go now to server-side events, and then here is the after dialog validate event, which fires after the data has been validated if there were no validation errors. So we'll go to action scripting, and we'll choose the action to save submitted data to tables, and then we'll enter some unique name. So I'll just call it save my data. The actual name is irrelevant, it just has to be unique. And now in the builder we'll choose our actions. So after we submit the data and after the data has been entered, we'd like to just edit the record that was just submitted. We'd like to display debugging information so I can actually see what the SQL was that got executed. And in this case, since we're doing data entry into multiple tables, using transactions is important, because if an error occurs when we're entering, say, the third item in the repeating section, we'd like to abort the entire action and not commit any data to the header table or to any of the customer address records either. So the ability to unwind a transaction on an error is very important. So let's pause now and pick it up in the next video.